560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Wait, so we got this whole, or I got this whole Scotty Scheffler story. I misunderstood it as we were talking about with Mike Scott. Happened this morning. He was taken into custody.
I told you that. You don't listen to me. It's like
I
we're
thought
a
he
married
was- Yes,
couple
he
all
was.
talking. You don't listen to me.
He
He's
was-
taken into custody. That's why I said,
Yeah,
this
I've got
Christian man, it's a bad look when he's handcuffed.
I've
Well,
got
I-
his
taken
booking
away.
photo.
Yeah, I saw he was handcuffed. I read that he was handcuffed, but I thought it was yesterday, and then he was released. And now the video is out. Jeff Darlington at ESPN has posted the him being taken into the squad car in cuffs. And then Golf.com has his booking photo.
Oh my gosh!
No, this is
Did they
this is
fingerprint too?
this is a conspiracy between
Oh my God.
at least Rory McIlroy and the Louisville Police Department. It may be wider than that. I wonder if Liv had something to do with this.
Yeah, the Kentucky Colonels are at work this morning.
This is crazy. We need to go frame by frame with the body cam footage to distill this all and to make sure that we, because this is another honky professional golfer that's being mistreated by police. I mean, when is enough going to be enough?
Yes.
Right?
Although I did see a good meme this morning. Scotty Scheffler now going to experience what weekend golfers do, showing up at the course 2 minutes before tee time, probably broke a few laws on the way, haven't stretched since 2004, wearing clothes from the night before.
Well, but again, an hour delay getting there because of the accident. That's not on him. It's not like he was playing it last minute.
Nope, not on him.
So Louisville, I'm with Scheffler on this one. Louisville Police Department, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. And they let 2 courtesy cars go through, like you said?
That's what I understand. Yes.
The third one was just too much. And maybe he didn't see the first 2 courtesy cars go through. The sergeant on the scene there.
It's always the third courtesy car that gets it.
It is. It's a third time's the charm.
Third player's car that always gets it. Wow.
Well, I think Olympia Fields could probably host the third round if things blow up at Valhalla.
I like that. I like that idea. We could redirect it up north a little bit.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like such a clean-cut guy. It's just so weird seeing him in cuffs. I know. That's how women process this.
We'll have more on this developing story. This is the perhaps the worst abuse of law enforcement power I've ever seen in my life. Perhaps that's ever occurred in the history of. Yeah, I'm
claiming police brutality.
Being facetious here, but I mean, what? Come on, he doesn't say at some point. I mean, I sort of give him credit if he doesn't say it, but he did reach out to like ESPN. Hey guys, can you help me out? You never think he's trying to get into Valhalla. The PGA is there. You don't think that this guy looks like he might be a professional golfer, like he might be the world's #1 professional golfer. Do you have a TV? Are you familiar with the sport of golf? Anyone in the Louisville Police Department?
The people that were on the scene there, I don't think that they were familiar with anyone associated with the PGA.
Well, how do you know? There's a lot of cops on the scene from this video.
I know, but the one that arrested him, I just don't.
There's 3 escorting him to the car, 2, and then there's others milling about. There's all kinds of cop cars around there. Not one Louisville Police Department officer is a golfer. What the hell's wrong with that department? I'm outraged. I may have to lean on our model Hamas friends at DePaul, go down there and set up an encampment.
Oh, yeah. They're
protest this law enforcement abuse. So that got broken up. The DePaul, and we have to move on now, even though I don't really want to. But that DePaul encampment finally got broken up because that school is so courageous.
Yeah, and the students weren't, they're crying, just like the golfer is police brutality.
They started violently with batons, destroying the art and the tents. At 5 a.m., the cops violently pulled up with over 100 cop cars and bikes and tore into the camp, raided it, as if this wasn't American soil, that this wasn't a bunch of students in there.
I want more color on the art, as well as 100 cars, and bikes. So you mean like one car and a bunch of cops on bikes because they were dealing with you snot-nosed DePaul undergrads.
And the guy during the interview was holding up a piece of art that he created, and his other artwork was destroyed.
Yeah.
And then they came up with They had 5 garbage trucks there, Chicago City garbage trucks, and they just put all that stuff right back in. So all those environmentalists, you're jamming up the landfill.
What was the art? Did he macrame himself a skirt?
No, it was just a painting of Arabic eyes.
I'm actually, that was a rhetorical question. Sorry. I'm really not interested in his art. Jason Hill is a professor of philosophy at DePaul. He's also the author of What Do White Americans Owe Black People? Racial Justice in the Age of Post-Oppression. You can get Jason Hill's writings as well at Jason Damian Hill, that is, jasondamianhill.substack.com. Jason, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
All right, Dan and Amy, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
I'm sure you are perhaps the least surprised faculty member at DePaul at the conduct of the kids there. I mean, we've talked to you about what the slings and arrows you've suffered from faculty and students alike during your time there as a philosophy professor, but your comments on what the model Hamas kids did and how the administration responded.
Well, not just speaking about DePaul, I just think that these encampments, both at DePaul and across the country, they all have the pretense of what I would call a medieval morality play, where the administrators are supposed to be these evil proxies for American imperial interests, and the students are supposed to be agents of good. And that's just nonsense. They're all in cahoots together, the administrators and the students. And what I want to really stress, Dan and Amy, is that when you see Brown University taking the students as proper brokers of power and as negotiators and divesting from Israel, is that their goal really is to normalize the BDS movement, the boycott, divest, and sanction movement against Israel, and to give normalcy to the public that these students are part of a sort of legitimate governance body qualified to engage in negotiations. So all along, the whole idea of DePaul and these other universities permitting these students to trespass and to set up these grotesque encampments, which are aesthetic eyesores, really, means that they're just in cahoots with each other. I mean, the students have always been the pawns of the administration, and it's really to normalize the idea that divesting and boycotting from Israel is okay. It's to normalize and mainstream this idea so that it becomes coin of the realm in the minds of the public.
But what about, my friend's son goes to DePaul, and I said, well, who's in the encampment? He said, half of these people don't even go to school here. So they were taken advantage of by Antifa and BLM members.
Taken advantage of.
Well, I'm just saying, right. But he said to me, he said, anybody who wanted to come in to bring a tent could just bring a tent in and set up shop.
I think that's a bunch of malarkey. I think the majority of those encampments were occupied by students. I know this is the case because my classes were half full, and when I inquired to the students, a lot of them said they're part of the encampment. One of my students actually said to me as we were walking out from class, he says, I'm going to find my tribe among the encampment. I said to him, where's your tribe? He said, there are many tribes out there, Professor Hill, and my tribe is a tribe that's devoted to the entire destruction of Israel, not just from Israel. He said, my tribe, well, I won't say what his nationality is because I have to respect the privacy of my students, but this is a private conversation between the two of us. And I was left dumbfounded. He said, have a good day. He said, I'm going to find my group of tents. And my tribe is a tribe that's devoted to the absolute annihilation of Israel. So this is malarkey. This is just, progressives trying to operate on the stealth to give radicalism a leeway to operate its nefarious agenda.
Wait a second. I was told that all of these model Hamas protesters were anti-war protesters, and now you're telling me they have some sort of irrational animus towards Jews and towards Israel? Boy, that's not what we're hearing from their comm shop, the Chicago and the D.C. press corps, is it?
Well, look at who's the infamous negotiator on campus. It's that terrorist group that terrorized me years ago, the Students for Justice in Palestine,
right?
SJP, which is funded by the AMP, which is funded by Hamas. So DePaul and other universities have about 200 chapters of this terrorist organization, and they've been known at DePaul to terrorize Jewish students and terrorize Jewish organizations. They're they're Jew haters. They're not just anti-Semitic. And they were and still are the primary so-called power brokers. They're the negotiators trying to negotiate with the administrators about divesting from Israel. The audacity of these people. So it's no secret that they're the main leaders of the demonstrators, the Students for Justice in Palestine. I mean, these groups should be disbanded from all universities. They're terrorist organizations.
Well, instead they said they're going to motivate and make the DNC a really bad place here. This 15 seconds.
We will have tens of thousands of people in the streets of Chicago that week. It will be the largest mobilization for Palestinian rights in the history of this city.
So do you think yesterday was just a pregame for what's going to happen during the DNC?
Oh, I think we're going to see mayhem and chaos, and we'll just see what that recalcitrant, mayor of ours, who's just so like the previous mayor, guilty of dereliction of duty, a facilitator of so much that is nefarious in the city. We'll just see what he does if he forbids us from calling them what they are, hoodlums, dogs, from parading through the street, blocking passage. I mean, no one has a right to. You don't have a right to protest. You have a right to peaceful assembly on the property, on your own property, on the property of your adherents. But no one has the right to block public passage and to clog the streets. I hope they're all arrested, thrown in jail. But that probably won't happen. It'll probably be mayhem. They'll probably block the passage to O'Hare Airport. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen, right? And we know what the response is going to be from the corrupt Chicago politicians, political agents. We already know this.
I wanted to get your reaction, too, because we had this conversation with Heather McDonald earlier in the week, too, that, this solidarity and marginality play that is always attendant to these identitarian power grabs, whether it's on campus, the specific college campuses or the one big college campus that Americans all live on these days. Ayanna Pressley, Frances Parker Spice of the Socialist Spice Girls, educated at the August Francis Parker High School in Chicago. Now, cue ball representative for in the state of Massachusetts. I always think of that Phil Hartman as Sinatra in that Saturday Night Live skit when he said to Sinead O'Connor, "I look at you and I think 8-ball corner pocket." That's what I think of when I look at Ayanna Pressley. But anyway, there was a hearing this week on the problems within FDIC in terms of sexual harassment and what the top officers at FDIC did or didn't do. And this is how Ayanna Pressley approached that hearing, because the head of FDIC is a old white honky, and the issue is sexual harassment. So she started with the female identity politics and then went to the race identity politics.
There is not one woman on this panel, and I almost walked out just on the strength of that. But the only reason why I didn't is because that is a systemic issue here in Congress and often for people who come before this committee. And if you don't have one woman in a position of leadership and authority that should be there, then that is also a problem. But again, women, I am so tired of white men failing up. This lack of accountability is a shameful, inadequate, and deeply unsatisfactory, and it is re-traumatizing. Chair Gruenberg?
Yeah, so, I mean, just the typical sort of, rather than addressing the substance of the particular issue in that particular agency, it's got to be force-fed through the prism of identity politics. This is what they do. This is what we're seeing on campus. This is why you have the silliness of queers for Palestine and so forth. This is all part of the larger cultural play by these new Marxist leaders and their useful idiot friends.
Well, the first thing that somebody should have asked her to do is to identify a woman. Like, how does she know?
Exactly.
Does she have some sort of epistemic privilege of knowing that any of those white men on the panel don't secretly identify as a woman?
Yeah,
I mean, someone should ask to define what do you mean by a woman? Can you give us a definition of a woman? Look, this
that would be good. Yeah.
But the idea, of course, that you need someone of the same sex or gender to represent is so un-American, right? We adhere to a set of policies and principles, and you don't need someone of the gender or the sex to be a vehicle or a representative of those policies and principles. And she, of all persons, should be the last to speak about discrimination when so much that comes out of that woman's mouth is so heinous and Marxist and left-wing, nefarious left-wing propaganda, and she's allowed to get away with it without, with impunity. So you're right. It's part of the radical identitarian politics that we see that makes no sense actually when you talk about queers for Palestine and fat people for Palestine and gays for Palestine. It blows the mind because these are individuals who would be killed on entrance into Gaza,
Yep.
hung from or pushed off of buildings. But they're not thinking. They're not really thinking this through because their real agenda is something much more nefarious, and that is they're nihilists who really want to change the political, as I said, the political DNA of this country, and to introduce a Marxist government in America.
Sorry to interrupt. Jason Hill, professor of philosophy at DePaul, author of What Do White Americans Owe Black People? Racial Justice in the Age of Post-Oppression. Get Jason's writings at his Substack, jasondamienhill.substack.com. Jason, thanks as always.
Thanks, Dan.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Parents, grandparents, you might want to be sitting down because this is amazing news. Imagine the student in your family not asking you for money to pay for college, or better yet, not getting into years and years of debt. How's this possible? Scholarships.com, a trusted and widely used scholarship platform that helps your student find scholarships and navigate the financial aid process. Get help to pay for college through a personalized list of scholarships that your student actually qualifies for. Better yet, every scholarship is vetted to ensure accuracy. And now the best part, drum roll please, it's absolutely free. Go to scholarships.com today. Both students and parents can join for free. And within minutes, receive your list of personalized scholarship matches. Check out the wealth of information and resources available at no cost. And read the fantastic reviews from other scholarship winners. Scholarships.com has helped over 23 million students and families find scholarships to help pay for college. And will help you too. Join scholarships.com today for free. That's scholarships.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
You guys,
Scheffler's been charged with assault.
Right.
What?
Yeah. He's been charged with felony second-degree assault on a police officer, third-degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, disregarding signals from officers directing traffic.
Say his name, Scotty Scheffler.
And the mug
Say
shot.